Hi everyone, welcome to a very new episode of Proxlight Podcast. And today we have a very special guest on our show. He is Carlos Fernández. Hi Carlos, how it's going?
Great, Pratish. Super happy to be here collaborating with you. Everything's okay. How about you?
Yeah, it's great over here also. So can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Fernandez. I'm right now a senior front-end developer at Tigerhall. I have been working professionally as a front-end developer for about 4 years, initially in Peru with a media and entertainment company there called El Comercio, one of the biggest ones in Peru, and working about 1 year with Tigerhall right now, a social learning platform recognized globally.
That's great, that's great. So you are a front-end developer, right?
That's right.
So can you please share your experience with us as a front-end developer?
Of course. Um, I started working with JavaScript, HTML, CSS. I think that's the foundation for every front developer, at least.
Yeah.
Yes. I started with that. In my first professional job with El Comercio was a great chance for me to learn a lot of things about working in a team, enterprise processes, and all of that. In that time, I remember we had to migrate 9 sites from a old CMS to a brand new CMS. For that, we had to rebuild each one of the websites. But basically, we were able to reuse a lot of components and a lot of pieces. We decided to go with React as our framework for the websites and GraphQL for our integration with our APIs and all of that. And that's basically how everything started out there. Then after some time working on that, we delivered the websites, different websites with the new CMS, with all of the data migration we had to do, working mainly with Python is
Yeah,
what we use for the data migration. And after that, we enter in a maintenance phase, basically improving the user experience, UI, and all of these kind of things, developing new features. Easy road after that. Then I moved to Tigerhall, and Tigerhall is a whole new experience. Here we have three different products for our users: a mobile application that is built with React Native, available for iOS and Android. We have our web app built with React. It's basically a client app that you can use to get all of the potential of the mobile app, but in your desktop device. And we have a brand new marketing website built again with React, but using Next.js as a framework. So super helpful for us for ACO purposes to get pages loading really fast for the users. Um, Everything connected behind the scenes with Golang, which is super fast for backend
yeah,
stuff, and again GraphQL for all of our connections.
that's great. So which audience are your target mainly? So what do you create on a basis? Like
Right,
what is the topic?
right. So basically, right now with Tyco, our target is professionals that want to improve in their careers, in their lives. Our product is a social learning platform. We give access to individuals, teams, enterprises, uh, to a bunch of content. We basically have a network of more than 1,000 industry experts with real world insights, and they are able to get all of this content through a monthly or annual subscription. Uh, we have a enterprise plan which is based for big enterprises and gives them a lot of abilities to create different groups, cohorts, and track a user's progress in the content, create internal content for all of the users. So it's an amazing thing. In a daily basis, we are always caring about new features for our users. Uh, new experiences for them, to not just for our admin users, which want to get more insights on how everyone in the organization is doing, but also for the users that are actually consuming this content, to make sure they improve in their life goals, in their career goals.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So what problem have you faced as a front end developer?
Oof, a lot. Yes, a lot. I think one of the biggest issues I always like to talk about is this thing. How do you make the distinction between a junior and a senior developer? It's something very, very blurry. How to
Yeah, yeah.
distinct that, um, and that's a issue that I think everyone faces. In my personal opinion, one of the things that make you a more senior developer is the ability not just to code things, but to understand the value you give to the people, to your
Yeah.
final users. And because when you understand that, what you code, what you develop, is not a piece of code, but is a brand new experience for users that bring value to them.
Yes.
I think that's one of, in fact, that's one of the most important challenges I have faced, because it's a mindset shift to understand this and to apply this in a daily basis. I would say other thing is how you manage speed versus quality as a front-end developer. And I think in general, as a developer, is something we're always facing when we need to deliver something fast, but we need to do it with quality. What should we focus on? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's always this need to be flexible and dynamic and to adapt to the situation, to understand what to do. And I think that's another of our biggest challenges I still facing today in my career.
Yes, yes, yes. So what do you want to say about the young generation who are just started the coding or programming? So which language they should prefer?
I think there's room for everyone. I know a lot of people that they have this connection with data and like to visualize information and all of these kind of things, and they end up going to a backend background where I think the kings right now are Python and Golang, for example.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yes, so I think Python is super friendly for beginners.
Yeah,
So
the Streamlight.io is one of the example, as we say, for the data visualization, right?
exactly. So it's one of the easiest languages to learn when you are a beginner. But not just
Hmm.
that, it has a super wide potential in the future as well. And if you feel more connection with design and how things look and try to make things, looking better, maybe you have this front end connection. Maybe a good way to go is learning JavaScript, HTML, CSS as your initial basis. Or if you feel engaged for mobile applications, so maybe you can go with Flutter or with uh, native languages like Shift, Kotlin. But uh, if I have to give you a easier set of options, I would say Python, JavaScript are the two choices for beginners to join the
Yes, yes,
programming world.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's great. So there are also some tools, no code tools, basically, which are for building web apps. So what do you want to say about them also, about those no code tools?
I would say are impressive. First of all, no code tools will not take programmers' jobs. That's the first thing I
Yes,
want to
definitely,
point out.
definitely. Recently it has been there that the AI that generate art. This is very popular nowadays. That AI is generating art, and the job of artist is in a danger. I think so.
Maybe I think these jobs are not in danger, but will transform to
Yeah.
something else. I
Yes.
think that's what's going to happen, and that's what actually is happening right now. No code tools are great for people that want to maybe create a initial idea, a MVP, and validate it. When you
Yeah.
are a person with, this feeling, you want to build a startup, you want to build an app, you want to build a product, no code platforms are a great start to validate your idea.
Yeah, that's great. So, are there any issues with no code app also?
Of course, you don't have the flexibility and the full power you might get from the devices you are developing too. Let's say you
Yeah.
use a no-code platform to create a website. Maybe you will get some good potential with that, but when you want to go deeper and build some complex interactions, complex experiences for users, that's going to be hard. And you will finally need to find a developer, a expert to maybe go to that tool and do extra
Yeah.
things to get that done. Yeah.
So, as our channel basically mostly deals with GUI creation, we mean that we basically use Python for creating GUI, as you have seen. Now, what your view on creating such beautiful GUI? So, what do you think? Which tools should we use to create that such beautiful interfaces?
Is your question like which tools do I think we can use to create these beautiful
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
interfaces?
That. Yes.
Mm, honestly, because I'm most a JavaScript developer more than a Python developer, I would say no-code tools are great and can give you good-looking websites. That's true, but I would say talking in a higher level, um, we have different kinds of styling strategies, I would say. You might go for using, I don't know, maybe libraries that gives you a complete set of elements. Let's say Material UI or
Yeah.
Chakra UI, make it easy for you to create beautiful websites. It's true, with a less complexity. You have other layers like using Taiwan CSS, for example, which
Hmm.
is easier to understand from an CSS perspective, gives you more flexibility, but it's maybe not that easy as building a complete website with Chakra or Material UI because it does it for you. So I would say you need to learn the basis, and the basis at least in web development is CSS. It's super
Yes.
important if you want to get the full potential of a beautiful website. That's my recommendation.
That's great. That's great. So, what about the new styles that are coming, like neomorphism, glass morphism, things like that on CSS?
That's awesome. I mean, I imagine you have seen this conversation on Twitter and other platforms like, no, CSS is not a programming language, but
Yeah.
every day we're closer to that.
Yes. Yes.
We're getting closer to that. Thing is, I think this is a sharp knife. There is a lot of people always going through the new stuff like, oh, there's a new functions we can use with CSS and let's try it. But always remember the target of your product or where you're working on, because normally this kind of new features are not available for all of the browsers, for example. Um,
Yes.
so that's a good thing to always take care about. New things that are coming are great, super flexible, and I wish uh we already had that like a few years ago. Honestly,
Yes. Yes.
it gives you a lot of power. Um, but yeah, always keep in mind that things that are yet to come are not available for all of the devices, so need to be aware of that.
All right. So, do you use Figma for prototyping?
Of course, in fact, we use Figma at Tigerhall.
All right. So, what's your view on that? Adobe has fired Figma. So, basically, what's your view on that? I think this one is a very kind of controversial question, but what's your view on that particular thing?
See, personally, I was scared in the beginning because I mean, Adobe is a company that knows how to make money.
Yeah.
And Figma is mostly free. Uh, and I'm afraid like this free tier can be reduced a little bit in terms of getting more income from Figma. I'm afraid of that. But in the other hand, Adobe is a huge company with a huge workforce. So I would say Figma will definitely become a greater platform from what it is right now. Will become better.
Sure.
Uh, Adobe is integrating AI and machine learning stuff to their products. So I will not be surprised if they mix this power of all of the flexibility and all of the things that Figma has with new AI features. Maybe you can create a prototype, just type in whatever you want there. Will be
Yeah.
amazing to see how they can power this super amazing product that is Figma with their experience in the field for a lot of years.
Yeah. So anything else you want to say to our audience? Any other tips you want to give as a front-end developer to our audience?
Yes. Basically, remember that when you develop, when you code something, it's not just about the code you write, it's about the value you give. Everything you do in these ones and zeros in your computer become something that people can see and touch in some point. So always keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that you're building things for people. That's another interesting thing. So empathy, I think, it's a super value for developers to have empathy and to understand the position of the final user, what the final user is going to get and what kind of value we'll get from that. I think that way you will become a great developer, no matter how many years of experience you have, how many languages you have. Just focus always in delivering a good experience, good value for the final user. That's my recommendation.
That's great. That's literally great. So thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for Carlos for sharing such valuable thoughts to our audience. And I'm really thankful to him for sharing those things. And thank you guys for joining in. I hope you like this video, and if you did, then hit that like button below and subscribe the channel if you want these like content like this. Then I will meet you in the next podcast. Until then, keep coding.